Good afternoon in New York and Eastern North America. Good morning, Middle and the United States Western parts. Good evening in the United Kingdom, Europe, in Kurdistan, Iraq, the Middle East, and Africa. And thank you, whatever time of day or night, from all corners of the world. I'm Dr. Yael Danieli, founder and executive director of the International Center for Multi-Generational Legacies of Trauma, ICMGLT for short. Thank you for joining today's ICMGLT's Lifelong and Intergenerational Legacies of the Anfal Genocide. For those who need interpretation, please scroll down, find either more or go get to what says interpretation. It's a little world picture with interpretation, and choose the language you need and click on it. This International Center for Multi-Generational Legacies of Trauma webinar commemorates the 38th anniversary of the Anfal, the series of military campaigns held by the Sadam Hussein government against the Kurdish people in northern Iraq from February 23 until September 6 of 1988. Victim survivors and multidisciplinary researchers and activists of the Anfal Genocide will share and reflect on its multidimensional, lifelong, and intergenerational effects and national and international attempts at redressing its horrors. This webinar would not have happened without the total dedication of Ali Mahmoud Mohammed, and would not be available to so many in the audience without the generosity of our Kurdistan English interpreter, Pastor Louis Shaker. We also should acknowledge the help of ICMGLT's Yazidi Working Group. Your moderator, I am a clinical psychologist, traumatologist, victimologist, and psychohistorian. Having developed the first program to help Nazi Holocaust survivors and their children in the 1970s, I have devoted much of my career to studying, treating, writing about, and preventing lifelong and multi-generational impacts of massive trauma worldwide, to ensuring victims' rights, the rights of future generations, and to reparative justice. I conceive of psychohistory as we live history in the now, not merely as a list of past dates, events, and numbers, but as it shapes our decisions and ways of being today. Today's first speaker is Shakhawan Shorash, born in Erbil in 1965 with a BA from the University of Southern Denmark. Shakhawan is a master's candidate at the University of Copenhagen, specializing in ethnic conflict and genocide in Iraq. A selection of his numerous articles in Kurdish, Danish, and English is available at, you can see, please, on the www.kadirshorsh.com, iKurd News, etc. Please, you can find it on the flyer that is in the chat section. It's worth visiting. His forthcoming Halabia Under the Shadow of Anfal The strategic maneuvers of major and minor powers will be published in Iraqi Kurdistan. Second is Adalat Omar. Born in 1970 in southern Kurdistan region of Iraq, Adalat Omar served as the director of the Anfal Center. Adalat is the founder of the Kurdistan Genocide National Archive Project, an archive website. There's two you can find exactly in the chat. She authored 5 books and 20 research studies on the Kurdish genocide and its consequences, and is a member of the International Association of Genocide Scholars. Our third speaker is Ali Mahmoud Mohammed, a prolific writer and human rights activist specializing in genocide studies and international justice. Ali was born in 1963 in Kirkuk, Iraq, and is a survivor of the Anfal campaigns. He has extensive experience in documenting mass atrocities, supporting victims, and advocating for accountability. He has held leadership roles in key national and international human rights organizations, including the Anfal Organization and CHAK. He's a member of the International Association of Genocide Scholars. Fourth is Hemin Kamil Rashid, born in 1982 in Kirkuk, Iraq. Hemin, child survivor of the Anfal Genocide, has dedicated his career to documenting social trauma and advocating for peaceful coexistence and human rights. A doctoral researcher in sociology at University of Suleimani, independent journalist and social analyst with over 15 years of academic research and educational counseling. His academic work is rooted in sociopolitical analysis, focusing on the long-term impacts of genocide and social integration in multicultural societies. Last but not least is Dara Mohammed Ali Salih, an Anfal survivor born in 1980 in Kfere, Diyala. Dara is a dedicated advocate for remembrance, justice, and Kurdish history. Imprisoned harshly for over 6 months in 1988, the families of over 100 relatives, including women and children, was murdered and buried in mass graves. Currently serving as the administrative director of the Vision Foundation for Strategic Studies. Formerly, Dara was director of Toilers TV, the Kurdistan Anfal Prisoners Association, Kurdish youth organizations, and the Patriotic Union of Kurdistan, contributing to both civic and political initiative. Within an hour after the conclusion of the webinar, you will receive the recording. We have an hour and a half for the webinar, though we have been known for most engaged audience who keeps us longer. Each of our presenters will speak for around 8 minutes. Following an interchange among the panelists, I will open the floor to questions or brief comments from the virtual audience. I will then invite our panelists to conclude today's webinar with their, quote, last words. So think about that. Please use the Q&A or the chat function, and we will do our best to respond to as many questions and brief comments as we can. Feel free to direct your question to a particular panelist or to the full panel. I now have the honor of welcoming Shakhawan Shorash to begin with an overview. Dear Shakhawan, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Rial. Thank you, everyone, that joining us here in this webinar. I am trying to give a brief about the Anfal Genocide that happened in 1988. We are talking about the crime of the Anfal Genocide, which was carried out by Saddam Hussein's regime against the Kurdish people in Iraqi Kurdistan in 1988. Yeah, the plans and decisions of destruction. The first step was made actually in August 1985 when the rural or countryside areas were designated as prohibited zones. There were areas outside the control of the regime where administrative and economic blockade were imposed. Any village that cooperated with the Peshmerga was treated as a traitor village. Ali the Chemical stated on April 15, 1988, I will only leave the cities and main roads. I will prohibit these vast and wide areas and will not allow anyone to remain there. From Qaradaq to Kifri, to Diyala, to Darbandikhan, to Slemani, to Koya, to Kirkuk, I will empty them. Not a single person will remain there except the main roads. That's a clear definition of what is it about prohibited area. Decisions number 160 dated 18 March 1987. Saddam Hussein appointed Ali Hassan, Ali the Chemical, as the head of the Northern Bureau of the Ba'ath Party, and granting him absolute authority to implement the decisions of the Revolutionary Command Council and the Ba'ath Party. A decision was made to destroy villages and some camps into phases. First of all, actually, in 1987, from April 21 to May 21, from May 22nd to June 21st, 87. It was the first two phases of the destruction of the village. The third stage actually continued after the Anfal Genocide. And yes, Ali Hassan al-Majid issued actually a series of decrees regulating the deportation and mass killings of targeted population in these prohibited zones. These decisions represented the culmination of the so-called the final solution process designated to systematically complete one another. Yeah. And yes, and two decisions was most important here. The degree number 3650 of 3rd June 87, which you can read from this decree. Article 2 and 3 specify that after 21st June of 87, the presence of civilians within these areas is strictly forbidden. Article 5 gives the armed forces the right to kill any person and animal seen within these prohibited zones. Decree number 4008, it is another important and significant decree, which you can see from the Article 4, orders continuous shelling and bombing artillery, helicopters, and warplanes day and night to kill as many people as possible in prohibited areas. Article 5, it requires that all detainees be handed over to the security centers after interrogations. Those between the age of 15 and 70 are to be executed. And the Bahas regime made actually a general census in October 1987. It was to define the people who were targeted for the deportations and mass killings, and did not allow to register them during the census. So the Iraqi regime got a legal issue against them. The Army Corps, Special Commands Forces, and Bahas Militia Forces, Revolutionary Guards, National Defense Forces, as we could call them, JASH, militias, with the support of the Iraqi air artillery forces, carried out the genocide. The genocide actually happened actually from the 23rd of February 88 to 9th September 88. There were actually 9 attacks, including the Halabja attack. The first attack was in February 88. Halabja was in March, and second Anfal was in March 22nd, and the third Anfal was in 7th of April, and the fourth Anfal was in the 3rd of May, and the Anfal 5, 6, and 7 was happened actually between 24th of May to 26th of August 88, and the 8th Anfal was from 3rd of August to 9th of September, and the final Anfal was from 28th August to 3rd of September. The chemical weapons were widely used, and there were over 250 incidents of chemical bombardment during the genocidal offensives. Many civilians were killed by chemical poison. The regular army, heavy artillery units, aircraft, Kurdish calibrators, and several types of special forces of the Ba'ath Party militias carried out the following actions: attacked and bombarded the areas with heavy artillery and chemical weapons, killing people running for their life without differentiation, killed everyone who refused to surrender or somehow took a defensive position, detained all inhabitants in the village, looted the villages completely and destroyed them entirely, deported the detainees to concentration camps such as Topzawa, Dobuz near Kirkuk, Nizarkia near Dehok, Salamiya near Mosul in the north, Tikrit near Baghdad, and Nugra Salman in the Sahara southwest of Iraq. Detained villagers were fled to other Kurdish cities, were also detained. detained villagers who surrounded themselves to the government forces, separated men, boys from women and children in the concentration prisons, executed almost all men and boys immediately or gradually within days in pits in the north and south west of Iraq. Uh, Executed many women and children in pits in north and southwest of Iraq. The executions were carried out in different ways. For instance, some were executed outside the pits and then thrown them into the pits. Some were executed inside the pits. The pits were covered using bulldozers. Kalashnikov rifles were primarily used for the executions. Many women, children, and elderly people died in the concentration or murdered in the concentration jails due to endless disease, torture, or hunger. Many girls and women were raped in the concentration prisons. Tens of thousands of villagers and others escaped to Iraqi attack to escape the Iraqi attacks and fled to Iran, Turkey, and other countries. In brief, the result of the Anfal campaign was the destruction of and burning of hundreds of villages, the deaths of and disappearance of around 50 to 100,000 individuals, the cleansing of human beings of huge areas, and the flight of tens of thousands of refugees into neighboring countries or into the towns to hide themselves from the regime. And after the fall of Saddam Hussein, actually, the Iraqi Supreme Criminal Court began the Anfal trial on 21st of August 2006. The case proceedings began with seven accused standing trial. Saddam Hussein, the former president of Iraq, Ali Hassan al-Majid, Chemical Ali, and Sultan Hashim, the former commander of First Corps, Sabr Abdulaziz Aduri, former general director of the Iraq's military intelligence service, Farhan Mutlaq Al-Jaburi, former director of the military intelligence service of the northern region, Hussein Rashid Al-Takriti, former deputy of for operational affairs to the chief of staff of the army. And also Tariq Tawfiq Al-Ani. The Supreme Iraqi Criminal Court found that the crimes committed during the Anfal campaign on the course in 1988 were crimes of genocide, crimes against humanity, and war crimes. 5 defendants were found guilty. Ali Hassan al-Majid issued orders to carry on Anfal operations, especially the order to use special ammunition, meaning chemical weapons, which cannot be used unless after an order from the president himself, as it had been mentioned on the voice recording during the trial. So that was a brief history about the Anfal genocide. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shakhawan. I know how difficult it is to give an overview in a very brief period of time. I thank you for your clarity. And Adalat, the screen is yours. And Adalat, as you see, will focus on neglect of Kurdish mass graves in Iraq. Thank you, Adalat. Go ahead, please. Unmute, please. Unmute. Adalat, please unmute. You are muted. No, we don't hear you. Please unmute. On your computer.
اوكي
Thank you. Here
زور
we go.
سباس
Thank you.
نازانم برزنتيشن كم شير بو لقلتانيانا
بله دیاره
ديارة
بله
بو لغلاي من
Yes. Oops. No, now it left us
sorry.
again. Go ahead, reshare it.
اوكي
Take your time. Take your time. It's okay.
تواوا استا
Yes.
زور باشه است
اوكي او كاتستان باش زور خوش حالم كأو شو لقلتانم
I Pastor, you're translating English into English. Okay.
this
Sorry.
my presentation is English,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
and speak to Kurdish and translate with English.
Excellent.
Maybe easy. Can easy. كاك باستور لقلمي اوكي زور باشا presentation كيمان لسر بجدو خصني قرب
My presentation is about the research about author and genocide studies. A CML webinar for the Anfal has been prepared for. I will start. My principle of my research is into comparison between from the 1992 till 1999, 1988, from the Saddam regimes have been, and then from that time to Parliament of Iraq has been established, and this has been shared before. Till now, there's 1,000 of nurseries that have been. Have been create a conflict. This research demonstrates how the neglect of these graves of linked to of legal accountability and persistence of prolonged trauma and barriers and justice based on the field.
Sorry, Adalat, sorry. I don't hear the translation.
Yeah. Please, we were asking her to switch between slides to go for.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Yes. This research is outcome of the genocide. It's Iraqi state during the Ba'ath regime 1968 to 2023. The key sources that foreseen legal and anthropological reports derived from the field, and she tried to publish it in the big, the massive grave handbook. How this study is about how should reporting scientific document of massive graves and standardized of evidence, as well as the juries and the causes of the graves that have been, and to be justice transformation for these victims. Establishing my apologies. I'm sharing these pictures, but this is a reality of Kurdish culture that has been from the 35 years that have been go through until now. We are facing these graves and open it to our faces, and we know genocide what is, and what is the genocide from the worldwide. According to the Conversation of the Preventing of Publishing of the Crime of Genocide, adopted in 1948, genocide defines as act and has been on the fundamental keys, which is identification and concentration and extermination. These principles that have been Anfal goes through massive graves of evidence of genocide based on Iraqi national law on the massive graves of 2006. Any burial site contain more than one bodies that is located outside legal humanitarian standards is classified as massive grave. Most of them graves remain unidentified as DNA testing has not been completed. The purpose was consolidate the crime committed by individuals or state institute. The location of these graves correspond with areas defined as prohibited zones in Directive number 2008-19. Till now, 300 cases. Till now, it's not clear that where is this 300 cases, but till now it's not clear and it's not very. So these areas are not clear enough to examination and how these victims are recorded. The location of these graves corresponding with areas defined prohibited zones in Directive number 4008-1987 issued by Ba'ath regime, confirming the deliberate massive deportation and execution. This picture I have been already used. His name is Khail. She's setting of their families, and she submitted to international law. Here, I would like to mention that what happened to them and what against them, and how their report and with evidence, which is in grave massive, which is in Duhok 1967. They have been shaded from Duhok. These are the crimes that have been recorded from the Iraqi state under the Ba'ath regime against the Kurdistan from 1968 to 2023. The genocide of Kurdish Kurds. They have been from 1883 to 87 have been through, and there's no genocide of Borzanis, which is 1993. They have been till now. There's no evidence, and they didn't find any person of this grave mass. Bombing of Ziwa refugee camp, which is in 1985. Chemical bombing of Shakhawan. I don't want to take the time to list all of them together, but they are mentioned, and these are the places that she mentioned. There's all the crimes that have been faced to Kurds and the Saddam have been. There's different ways that the Kurdish has been discriminated through this period from multiple sector, if it is from political or if it is from presenting these political parties. So destruction of Sayyid Sadiq and forcing displacement of its population at 1988 and forcing displacement of the Kurdish region, which is in 1989. There's a table number 2. In the table number 2, location and a number of the massive graves in Iraq and Kurdistan region. In this research between 1992 and 2024, the total of 370 mass graves in 226 locations across Iraq, across Kurdistan and Iraq have been documented through detailed field investigation and analysis. All these areas, Diyala and Kirkuk, Diwani and Najaf, all these areas were 14 areas that this site extend geographically from Kurdistan to Diwani and Samawa and Arar Desert. I mean this slide. These are mass graves in Iraq, which is 370 mass graves in 226 locations, even if it is different location. This is the table number 3. It is comparison between and subjected about the Iraq mass graves handbook. There's no handbook in Halabja's mention, which is in Halabja there's 65 mass graves. They didn't mention, but Iraq, but disparities in data analysis. There is no official document from the Iraqis, official registry which still relies on our data from 2008. Those in Slemani and Kirkuk from 1992 to 2023, there's only 20 mass graves, but there's another places that occur, but they didn't. In Kirkuk, there's 25 mass graves, but only 2 graves is mentioned. There's this table is mentioned that the number of sites that have been recorded is 215, which is not enough to document the right data between these areas. Till now, they didn't try enough to record all the number of sites. Mr. Adalat mentioned that she was presenting her research in the Hague about the data, but the official Iraqi ministry, they didn't record it and they didn't depend on the right. We know that the historical of mass graves that have been through 3 stages from 2023, then 2014, and Iraq now has been through 3 mass graves, and this mass graves with 3 stages is create a trauma and for the future generation.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned, in Erbil and Duhok and Halabja, which is absent from the official record, despite the exhumation of dozens of massive graves in this area, I would like to state of massive grave in Iraqi Kurdistan. According to the Ministry of Martyrs and Anfal Affairs, to date, 59 Kurdish massive graves in 20 locations have been exhumed. However, many identified sites, only 1 and 2 graves have been excavated, while remaining graves. For example, many areas include Erbil, Halabja, and Duhok, Zakho, Suleimaniye, Kirkuk, Samawa, are either missing or incomplete in official record. A total of 3,620 remains from 2023 to 2024 have been identified and returned to Kurdistan for reburial. This excludes massive graves from the period 1992 to 2003. What are the gaps? That this systematic gaps, many areas including Erbil, Halabja, Duhok, and Zakho, and Suleimaniye, Kirkuk, Samawa, and Mosul and Diwaniya are either missing or incomplete in official record. Even some graves exhumed by the human right, and these absence are from the statistical overs. This picture is a Kurdish girl from 1988, discovered in Samawa, Altal Shakh, 2023. There's hundreds of graves. Till now, they didn't find it, and till now, they didn't want to open these cases. They are trying to hiding the situation to open these stages. However, this will create a trauma for these people. This is not justice transformation. It creates a trauma for the future. For example, since 2019, DNA identification result for 172 remains have been not yet realized, and as of 2023, the result for identification, additionally, 155 remains are still pending. I would like to mention two cases, 2029 to 2020. Till now,
Adalat, please try to conclude.
till now, there's additional 155 remains are still pending. This psychological perspective, this situation create a state of, this will create a delay presenting violation of the right to the truth and obstructs. I have been mentioned some cases how to record the discrimination, but there is a lack of documentation for the Kurdish genocide. But this example of the Holocaust and global cases have been recorded. This is unclear, and it is not supported by others. Always gap from the government and the worldwide to document these discrimination and these mass. Therefore, I would like to mention Iraq is worst cases to document this, how this experience represent one of the weakest cases of global map of the post-genocide justice. The conclusion, significant discrepancy between the official and field data, the lack of coordination between national and international institutions, and the deliberate marginalization of mass graves in Kurdish from Iraq's official list are clear indicated of the continuation of historical and political injustice against the victim of Kurdish genocide. Therefore, this situation, it is not cleared for the victims of this genocide. I have key recommendations for the future research can be get benefit from. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Adalat. It breaks my heart every time I ask any one of you to shorten the presentation just because we have a limited time, because everything you teach us is so important. I also want to acknowledge that this is extremely painful knowledge. This is difficult knowledge. And forensic anthropology has become a very important profession among the trauma-focused field. And unfortunately, we have more and more and more and more work for forensic anthropology. I will speak some more about the meaning of today and tomorrow in April and genocide later in our dialogue. Ali, my dear friend, please, the screen is yours. We don't hear you for some reason, even though you don't seem
Okay.
muted.
No, he is speaking in Kurdish. So
That's right. Thank you so much.
Okay. No worries.
I feel so close, so it's hard for me. Like I'm extremely moved by Adalat's presentation. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Thank you, Pastor, for helping me. Go
No
ahead.
worries. No worries. First of all, I would like to thank I would like to thank you, Mr. Yael, Daniel, and Pastor, and Mr. Shakhawan and Ms. Adalat has been mentioned. Anfal is to process this has been go through many discrimination, if it is the church, if it is the museums, if it is schools, all these discriminations goes under the criminal. The second part is how people deal with these discrimination and all the discrimination criminals happen between the genders and etc. Let's see how this process is going on. After stripping the citizen of their legal civil rights, so on 13 April 1988, Ali Hassan al-Majid issued Directive number 434. According to his directive, those who surrounded themselves, if they were resident of the areas outside the Anfal Zone 1, 2, and 3, surrounded to the force, would remain alive, but those who come the population of Anfal there were directive number the population of Kurds, they will be enforced to as Mr. Shakhawan and Ms. Adalat mentioned, they were displaced and they will be displaced to other places. On 1988, the government of Iraq do a process of population record, but some of the Kurds will lose their citizenship, and they try to differentiate between these Kurdish to different location. So government of Iraq try to separate all these institutions that were managed from the government of Iraq. They were put it. So I would like to mention two brothers in Sersang. This father is not need in money or there's a father asked for two sons of him, so he tried to find his boys to know where they are. He is on 9th of May 1988, and these days, and on 11th of May, all these this discrimination have been made it only for 2 days. So therefore, all these what he trying on 13 April 1999, Ali Hassan al-Majid issued directive number 434. According to his directive, those who surrounded themselves, if they were resident of areas outside Anfal zone 1 and 2 and 3, and surrounded to the force would remain alive. But those who come from the population of Anfal zone 1, 2, and 3 were to be treated according to directive number Qurban. Firm. According to Sultan Hashim, commander of the First Army Corps, after their arrest, the people were transported by military vehicles to the military intelligence headquarters in Kirkuk. From there to the Northern Organization office, and then to Tobzawa Personnel Detention Center. From there, they were transferred onward on Debis, Nugra, this to 26,000 person. It comes from Anfal Zone 1 and 2 and 3, and Anfal 4 and Anfal 5 and 7. We think that this is more than 26,000 person. Majority of these males of this group, they were living for 2 to 5 days. Through these days, they were being transferred to massive graves. Therefore, to observe persons population, they couldn't do the massive graves from the Dubas location. They transferred to they didn't able to without any sink. So there were more than these age of this population. They tried to transfer to the Negro Sermon. So the population, one of the three of these population, when they arrived to the Negro Salman, they were dead in ways from the disease and not having enough. So these population, they didn't have access to the pills or any things through these days. They were infected. At that time, they were not able to have good food or good. So these people, they were being from 6 to 7 days. They were faced many discrimination. It is abusing or sexual abusing or different. But some of them, they were being old. So one of the victims, Mr. Dara will be talk about. So 60% of these population, they were Mr. Rizgar. He will be a real victim of this graphs from. So some of these population were their age between 40 to 50, and one of them. So to create location where Kurdistan part, but has been counted on the Iraq, but there's 4,000 to 5,000, unless these population from 40 to 50, there were more than this age were not able to live. The situation that Mr. Dara will be mentioned, it is a disaster. It is not that much. So he's crying to, but he couldn't to take this action. So he trying to mention the Badinans and these areas. So Anfal and Badinang, they were trying to kill many of these areas, more than 4 to 5 times. 100 people, they were killed. Sorry. They were trying to kill. They were trying to transfer. Sorry. They will be saved from this situation. They were not. The forgiven were not given to even for other culture and ethnics of this Anfal. They didn't even. They tried to being in victim, and they were at the same cases. As Mr. Adalat mentioned, I would like to mention that I remember about the cases 250. The first, the judge and the government, they tried to arrest these people somewhere in combination. They were submitted to the Ali Hassan Majid and Saddam Hussein. They were trusted in the security institution. So these institutional securities were implementing these drives, and all these discrimination have been happening on the Kurds. Even the driver of these trucks, they were selected by Ali Hassan Majid and the Saddams to do drives, the big holes to these people. So there's many points that till now they didn't have right. Till now they didn't put it in jail, or he's getting out as they want to. But even we are not trying to give very extensive. Till now, our victims didn't get their justice transfer. And there is some samples of the Iraqis genocides. They are getting Saudi's citizenship, but Kurds till now they didn't get the right. Even if the pills or any medical wants, we ask them, we beg them to. So Iraq is still now they didn't apologize for the Kurdish.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As Mr. Adalat mentioned that there's no graves that we receive. There is many of the graves and locations they don't want to give us and didn't get the right. There's more than thousands of all these locations are all these locations that he mentioned. the manager of the president till now, they didn't put it in the blacklist or doing such law to till now there's many people that from these regimes, and these people are now getting a higher position for the government, and they are getting in government. Thank you so much, he say.
So the injustice didn't end. It's still going on. Thank you, Ali. Hemin, I believe we've been waiting anxiously to hear you. Are you there, Hemin? We don't see you. Here you are. Thank you. Go ahead, dear.
And the first, I would like to thank Yalil and Mr. Ali for you and all the participation and to take this one. Yes, go ahead. CHAK Hemin. I would like to express all the story and records that I have been through. I would like to shortly mention, and then at the end, I would like to get the feedbacks from you and the histories. I'll try to present it to you now. As you and Mr. Adalat and Mr. Shakhawan and they mentioned Anfal were taken this location that were outside the political. So this location were controlled by Peshmerga, which were places that were so they were taken from the regimes. So our places at that time, we were living and on these areas at 31 houses on these area. We were living in this, and some people of this area were living their normal life as agriculture and as a political. So they were not needed as resources from the cities. They were depending on their on the 7th of April 1988, we were outside. Our location is far for 18 kilometers. They were so the regimes try to control the Taza Shah, which is somehow far off our city, our location. On 7th of April, they tried to control and attacked our village, but I don't remember the exact number. There were 25 to 30 Peshmerga tried to protect this area, but unfortunately, these forces from Peshmerga, which was from uh, uh, they were being victim. They were not able to to protect these areas, but we try to hide ourselves and go to other places like Qadr Karam and to these areas that controlled by Peshmerga. Before 1 day of this day, we were arrested on 11th of April. At that time, when we arrested, there were a type of car. They were bringing it from the Germany. We were transferred with our children and wives. So we were go to a camp. There were a camp, and we remained there for half hour, and from there we transferred for the military sector, which is far off Kirkuk, around 15 minutes. On Top Zava, it was like disaster for us. That day, there were always hundreds and thousands youth bring it from different places and they put it in there. If there were youth, these youth, they were bring it with them their personal items, and they were not letting them. At that time, they were separated the old ages of this population from the children's, even from the women's. Before they were already separated these categories, which is children's, women's, and older population. So Top Zaba were the place to justify, classify these population at 1 day to 3 days. This population were left there to be classification for them. If from their name, occupation, and their location, these were duplicated for 2 to 3 days. There were another military institution for they were transferred us to that place. So they transfer us from 18 from the April to this location which called Dibis. So the weather on April was that's good to not make this population being killed or being dead through the way. They classify us. They detect this weather. So after the May, end of May, the population from the older age try to start death inside of them, and then from the children's, and hundreds of children's were killed, and they were put in the graves at that places. In Dubis, there were better than 2 Dibis, but in Dibis we were living in very good, and how there were some foods that you can to have some water, but there were no getting outside of this military institution. Uh, at the beginning of the September, there was another institution, military institution. They transferred us. We were in the halls, the big halls. They were being hundreds of people. On security places, there were only military soldiers. They were youth, not in older soldier. At that time, there were caravan from the cars that come to this place. They take us, and we ask them from where you are taking us. They reply us. We is 1,000. So when we are started to get on these cars and get for on August, when we get inside this car, the weather was very hot. Some of the population, some of the people were get sick and get not good in health, but the cars were closed and we were not able to get enough good. But some of these areas that on this way they take us all of the official documents, even the personal materials they get from us, even if it is gold, if it is watch, even they were taken force. So these people were taken forcibly to their materials and then so at that time there was a news later published that time, and we see that we have giving approval to being freedom.
Thank you very much, Heming. You do realize that we are getting a child's point of view here, right? And we are now going to the youngest child. So we've sort of gone from the oldest, who was very young anyhow, now to the very youngest. To him, and the youngest is Dara. Dara, please.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you, Dr. Daniel, and your foundation, ICMGIT. I hope I pronounce it correctly. And also, I would like to thank Mr. Ali for his great effort and great works with this field, the genocide field. And I also would like to send my greeting to all participants and audience. Actually, I think we all have the same mission. That's right. We are from the different culture and different countries, but at the same time, we have the same mission. We are going to talk about the genocide, and we try to make a kind of condition to um, protect others and to protect ourselves to not happen the genocide again. I was just 8 years old when the Anfal crime has happened. We will live in the small village called Klatsharmala, and our life was so quiet, and we live in the very peaceful life. But then Saddam regime and Ba'ath regime started to attack our area with the helicopters and bombs, and they sent us some news that we have to abandon our area, abandon our village. So at first we tried to deny their asking and their calling, but it seemed like we have no other choice. That's why we started to leave our village at the daytime because we were afraid of bombing. We tried to hide ourselves in small valleys around our villages. We did that a few days, then we noticed that it doesn't work anymore. That's why we try to destinate to the other village. I think they already tried to make people to go there. That village called Milasura, and many of villagers around assembled there. Then we for the first time in my life, actually, I have seen helicopters were so close to the earth, and some of the regime's agent were there, and they tried to persuade us that the regime is not our enemy, and they try to transmit us to the new campus, and the new lives is waiting us. That's why at the same time we have no other choices, because as I told you that we will live in the village, and when they attacked our villages and when they assembled their army, they have no left other choice for us. Then from Milasura, they transmitted us to some place called Qoradu. It located between Kalar and Khanaqin. It has a border with Iran country. I don't exactly remember how long we have stayed, how we in Qoratu, but I do remember it was terrible situation. Many of villagers were there, and all rooms and areas was crowded, and we were in the very terrible condition. After that, they tried to transmit us from Khanaqin, as I remember. But suddenly, when we started our journey from Quora to unknown place, I think after like half hour, they try to the helicopter comes and send a signal after that, they returned us back to Khorato again. And then after one day or one night, actually, they transmit us to Topzawa, but I think it was not through the same road. They transmit us through the other road. So when we arrived to Khorato, we saw other people from other areas. They assembled us there in Topzawa, and suddenly after we arrived there, they tried to separate man from woman. They did it immediately, and after, I don't exactly remember actually, in my opinion, maybe one night, and others says that it was 3 night or something like that. They called us to vehicles to transmit us to the other place. I do remember it was so terrible, and they tried to depart my mother from us. Actually, we were 8. My mother, my 5 sisters, younger brother, and my grandmother. They depart my grandmother from us. Then they tried to depart my mother as well. But we tried to scream and try to make a situation to stop them. Then they note that we are so young or so small. They left my mother. They transmit us to Dubas, and we stayed in Dubas, I think, like 2 months. The situation is in Dubas was not that much bad, but at the same time, we do not know anything about our future and about our relatives, about our cousins. So it was so terrible. I personally hurted myself in Dubas because I climbed a tree, but a soldier came and tried to pointed his gun through me. Then I failed, and my left arm has broken. So it was so terrible. There was no medicine, and there was no health care from prisoners. So then we spent the difficult time there because, as I said, we do not nothing about our future. Then they transmit us to Nugra Salman. Before our journey, the soldiers told us that our journey will be so long and tough. They were right, actually, because it took like 16 hours, and we do not know exactly the destination that they took to. So after 16 hours, we arrived to the Nugra Salman castle, and after like I do remember it was midnight when we arrived, and when we arrived after half hour, we heard some others inside the prison, and then we found out that some of our relatives, for example, I found out my grandmother was there, and my uncle also was there. So we started screaming and talking to each other and asking about the other of our dears, our relatives. But unfortunately, most of them was not there because they put just aged people, elders, in Nugra Salman. Nugra Salman was so tough, and the situation was so bad and terrible. Actually, I do not, or maybe it's so difficult to talk about Nugra Salman because I lost many of my friends there. I lost my dear grandmother there, and we even couldn't bury their bodies in the decent grave. And at the same time, we note that Nugra Salman is the last place that we see, but after like 4 months, they told us that there is an opportunity for us to return back to the camps. So they started to transmit us to somewhere else. I think we stayed like 1 week in some place close to Nugra Salman, then to Sulaimania, and then to Kalar. Actually, I think it's not easy to talk about terrible situation and about the disaster that we have faced and struggled with at that time, because as you know, maybe it is somehow is easy for um, older people, but it is so tough and so difficult for children. So I still live with that situation, and I still miss my friends, my dears that murdered at that time during that genocide process. So I would like to thank you again, and I would like to end my story here because I think I cannot talk about every details that I have going through during the Anfal crime process.
Thank you, Dara. Thank you, everyone, for this extraordinary part of the webinar. Each one of you has shown the light on major different aspects. And we can come up with so many other webinars related to this. For example, the child's experience and the difficulties particular to the children's reporting versus adult. The child's thinking that it's easier for adults. Well, it's totally painful to go through any of it for everyone. And there's so much more to learn. We ran over time, and on purpose, I didn't want to shorten any of your presentations, particularly because not too many people know about the Anfal genocide. I hope that our webinar and our recording of it will help in that. But perhaps when we become a working group, we can elaborate on the different aspects that each one of you brought up, be it reporting history for Shakhawan or the forensic anthropology, particular challenges, or how to even tell a story like this. do our languages contain a way of expressing it really? To the particular experiences of children who become adults but still remain children in some ways with regard to this experience. Normally, we would have a dialogue among us now. Because we run over time and because we have such very important questions, if with your permission, when we meet again, perhaps as a working group, we continue with the dialogue. And will it be okay with you if we go directly to the questions? I'm asking you. Yeah? Okay, you can unmute, all of you. So let me, Adalat, it looks like you have two major questions. Nidal Georgiak I wanted to ask Mrs. Adalet, since the women are more affected by the genocide, as always, and marginalized, as always, too, as a woman, how do you see that women's rights and participation in government are taking in account after all this time? Whoa, wow, what a question. And it continues, do you see it is important to focus on their role as decision makers? And because you have another question, let me read that too. So this was Dalsouz Hussein asking, I also have a question to Mrs. Adalet, who should be held responsible for failing to properly investigate, preserve, exhume, and exhumate, I guess, and return Kurdish mass graves to their families. The Kurdish regional government, the Iraqi federal government, or Kurdish academics. I'm sure Ali and Shakhawan can address this question too. So why don't you start with that, Adalet, and each one of you can contribute to the answer too, please. Adalet, go ahead.
There's three questions pointed to me about the victims, women victims, that there were not that how the ARI deal with these victims, most of them, the majority of these women. But I would like to point out this question to KRI government, how the government deal with this majority of the women. But
just interrupt for 1 second because there's a similar question, let me add, from Rewan Dishwar Fayek, who also says, thank you very much for this informative webinar and thanks to the guest speakers. I have a question also to Ms. Adalat Omar. What is the reason behind the Iraqi government's negligence and obstruction? Isn't it evading responsibility by misrepresenting numbers and history to weaken the Anfal case? In your opinion, what steps should be taken to prevent this negligence, which is itself a crime? Ooh. Yeah, you have, okay, each one of you can, of course, add your perspective after Adalet. Go ahead, Adalet, please. I'm sorry I interrupted, but it belongs to the larger question. Go ahead.
I would like to tell this question director who were the girls, but I would like to mention that most of them were men, not women. There were 52% and then 48% of women, but this not meaning that we should uh, focus on women only or women, men separately. But there's always a law to deal legitimately with this. But I would like to mention how to cabinet parliaments deal with the contribution of women in this government. But we don't have enough um, prime ministers by girls or women's that we have to depend on the political party's opinion. I would like to Mr. Shakhawan the question that has pointed to me. He mentioned who is responsible for this regime, if it is KRI or Baghdad governorate. I think that there's a law to 2026 about how dealing with this massive grace, these it is responsibility of Iraqi um, victims and survivors.
Mhm.
I think they don't have their representative, and this this institution are responsible for going and follow up what this situation, even this uh, mass has been through. These institution from British, they legitimate that no one can open these massive graves without any official letters. So therefore, uh, Iraqi's government is responsible to open and follow up again, and it cannot has a right for the KRI to open these massive, but Iraq is responsible to that. So there's a case like uh, ISIS's massive graves, but some of the KRI were opened and then government is not officially pronounced this. So at this stage, we are trying to introduce these massive process to the even for the Yazidis, massive graves are included, but without being getting approval from the Iraqi government to open these mass graves. It's not originally counted. About the Mrs. Asos, Mr. Ryan mentioned that about the number that I collected 2000 from 2000 to 2014 has been identified and returned to Kurdistan, all over the Kurdistan. This is a stratification analysis that I already collected from 2023 and 2024. People try to open these masses open and take their relatives and take it to their original location. We are not trying to being as Rwanda's and other places or other cases. but we would like to have our relative their original location. This is the question that it was related to me.
Thank you. Ali, there are questions to you as well, but all of you can contribute. So I mean, Dara, Shahwan, you can also give your opinion, of course. Just a sec, even though we really don't have that much time to add even to this. Okay. Yeah, Salah Said is asking, are there any attempts this is probably for me, to incorporate international scholars, for example, Kathy Caruth in her research on trauma and relatedness, offer critical insight into delayed and fragmented nature of traumatic memory, which is particularly relevant to understanding post-genocide experience. Thank you very much, Salar, for your question. If you send me her contacts, I would definitely reach out to her. I agree with you. She is a major scholar in the field. And tell us, how did you meet with her? Has she worked with you as a Kurdish person? So let me go on with that. Then there is a question along the same theme from Shilan Gafour. Along the same theme, what is the reason why ICJ hasn't had closer involvement and definitive ruling on par with other crimes against humanity? Ali, probably you can take that question. There's also another question: how many baddies? I think that's for Shakhawan and Ali and Adalat. How many baddies which have been returned to Kurdistan are identified? So please take notes of these questions. Each one is extremely important. And Shakwan, you probably answer that too. And also, Piri also asked, are they identified? Do you know who they are, or just the baddies without name? He says, I did not mean just the number. Thank you for that question, also. And then Rawan is asking, and my apologies to me.
Sorry,
I believe
could you
Mr.
please?
Adalet didn't see my question on the question and answer. No, that's okay. I already read it to her. So I think we are perfect right now with the questions. How about you give very brief answers, because we are way over
كاك
time.
علي
Go ahead.
بسالكي تريشها شاركي كاك أسو دلي بله لبروي
Sorry, I don't hear the translation. Pastor, are you there?
Yes, I was trying to translate them.
Okay.
Okay, so all the discrimination upon the Kurdish from 2002, we are trying to record all the discrimination for the international level, and the reason not going case of Kurdish, especially Anfal, not going to international law, there were many reasons that There was many reasons that ICG hasn't had disclosure to the definitive ruling on pair with the other crimes against humanity, which is the people, the Kurdish. I would like to mention ICC. Till now, Iraq didn't. Iraq till now didn't. The government of Iraq is not responding to all these discrimination from the 19s. They account all the discrimination from the 98 above, not under 1908. So ICG from the government of Iraq, they didn't see the genocide of Anfal. This was one reason to didn't follow this. I think there's another questions.
Go ahead, Shakhawan.
I would like to express more details about this.
Justice, International Court of Justice. It is there should be a state. There should be a state that comes with a case against another state in this court. This is not the same court as ICC. As we have seen recently about the South African case against Israel. So it happens in this level, yes. It was just an explanation about the differences of the court.
طبعا ويكاك شاخوان
Pastor?
خاتو آسوبيري
I
برسيارة
don't hear
كرديا
anything. That's
So
يعني بردوان بولا برسيارة كي
what did Shakhawan say?
I think Mr. Shakhawan was speaking in English, but he couldn't from the technical, which is not transfer. Yes.
Okay,
So
I can answer the question by Kurdish, so that you can translate.
no, it's good. Do you hear him, Miss Yael? Now?
It's on English. Okay. I mean that this ICJ court, this is not ICC court. It's a different court actually.
Right.
And there should be a state that comes with the case against another state. That's a different. And the Kurdish cases were not brought to these courts actually. It was only in Iraq. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. You see, we have a multidisciplinary webinar, and we still have so many questions for other disciplines. So this is just the beginning of our work. So I want to look at to conclude with Perveen Mohammed's question. Thanks a lot for this important webinar. Don't you think we need research on Anfal, and particularly on Anfal survivors? Why the government doesn't support research projects to make this globally visible? From my point of view, I bless this kind of research, and actually we even have the research instrument to apply, but who wants to take that question? That also invites psychosocial experts, of course. Ali, would you like to take that on? I can see your mind working.
He mentioned that if there's a direct question for me, I would like to answer them if you could ask me again.
Oh, okay. The question was, don't you think we need research on Anfal, and particularly on Anfal survivors? Why the government doesn't support research projects to make this globally visible?
Okay. I think human rights have been published about the Anfal's. Yes. I think there's a book which is being published from Human Rights Watch. This book has been very briefly serve the Kurdish case in this from the beginning of this genocide and has been but so this book is particularly has been improved in this case, but there is some lack of information that they didn't share. There was many people that from the evidence they didn't answer very well. Who is related to this case? Whose evidence? Who were um, should be shared and should be. Uh, there's many people, many of us. They get master and doctorate of this subject, but at that time they were. At that time for sure, I would like to press the Human Rights Watch to improve this book and to review it and from the number, from the different response, if it is there's more document, if there's any future of these victims and all the other victims at the Saddam regime and what the after Saddam regime these victims are. So I think from my perspective, for would like to human rights work to improve, and now we have more documents, we have more evidence, we have more after the Saddam to um, put it in the book and more about that. And there's many subjects that we'd like to research about it if it is to reclaim these rights. Until now, they didn't even punishing these who made this unfoul, and we would like to focus on our ICGs too, and
I-
and we would like to mention that there are many Kurds were part of this uh, genocide, but we would like to uh, want to get get the right president how the law deal with them, but I think this should be mentioned for the future, and I
I
think if it is not, right, I think they will be, yes.
Ali, I want to add, Pajin it added more clarification, and it's to my profession, actually, not so much to Human Rights Watch. What he says is, I mean, we did conduct a study on psychological consequences, for example, PTSD, depression, and anxiety of Anfal 35 years later, but it was all on ourselves financially. I believe we need more research. Now, Pajin, please make sure to send me the reference for your study, so we put it in the ICMGLT library. This is extremely important, and that is true for all of you. We want all your books in the ICMGLT library. Okay, so we will talk more about it later. But so Pajin is saying they did a study, but it was all volunteer. It's true of everything we do. I agree, Pajin. It is a huge question about the funding of studies like these, and why the government is not participating. How about if you join the working group and we address this question in a more comprehensive fashion in the future? Because I'm afraid I'm late to a meeting right now, since we really went way over time. Remember, it was called for an hour and a half. So let me, I would like us to meet again. Let me immediately invite you to meet maybe next Monday at the same time. If not next Monday, it will have to wait until Monday, the 4th of May. And those of you in the audience or in the chat who want to also attend the meeting, please do that. Send us your emails so we can invite you to that meeting. Okay? That is sort of the best I can do right now. And I look forward so much to learn so much more from you and to see how the center can help more, maybe also. And I do want to mention that tomorrow is not only the commemorative day of Anfal, but it's also the commemorative day for the Nazi Holocaust, to remember the victims of the Nazi Holocaust. April is a terrible month. We have genocides every week, commemorative. We have April 7 is Rwanda. April 14 is Anfal. April 17 is Cambodia. April 24 is Armenia. And of course, the Nazi Holocaust. So it's like all of this pain is in all of our breathing. And we should acknowledge that. But at the same time, we should acknowledge that therefore we are not alone. And perhaps we can help each other and help each other heal. And that's what we are here for. And let's complete. I asked you for last words, but we don't really need to have last words because there's so many more words to say before last words. But if you want to say anything more right now, let's start from the end. Dara, do you want to say anything as last word? You have to unmute.
Thank you very much for this webinar. I think the time is not helping us to continue more than that right now. So your suggestion about other meeting maybe next Monday or some other date, so it will be fantastic, and I am ready to join, and I think we have entire time, and so many opportunities to talk about the genocide and to stand together to help each other.
Perfect. Thank you. Heyman? Heyman, sorry. What are your last words? And you have to unmute.
Thank you so much. I hope your continuous improvement, and this is not only this dialogue for the future and what are already said about the Anfal and all the other colleagues that are working on the Anfal. It is it's a small part of Anfal that we have been seeing. Therefore, we need more time and location to implement and put it in the ground that what we are facing and what are seeing, and we cannot through the language to uh, impress our feeling and what is and how the mother waiting for the children's to waiting and she already knows that the children will not get back. This is not easy to as a scenario to telling you through the language.
Yes.
Oh, there was always the cases that people ask us in the school. We couldn't stand out in the school. They were asking us and the teacher who lose his father. We were afraid to stand out to say that we lose our father. So it was hard to us. It was hard to us as children how we lose our father. It is not easy. This hurt, this uh, crimes had been through us. It was different. It is from location to location. We need this time to speak it another time, another dialogues. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And my heart is with you too. Adelaide? Oh, no, I think Ali. Ali, go ahead.
I would like to mention my last. I was in process of. Well, I were in four process of. I were I were in fingers who were killed in this process, but unfortunately, uh, I were not in them with them. There's 66 women. They were trying to get their answer about their husbands, what they happened to them. So this is Anfal. I would like to ask you, Messiah, try to create common seminars with the Armenian, with the Holocaust, with the Bangladeshis, all of them to share.
Yes.
We are not indeed to speak our amongst but to speak with other uh, colleagues to share our stories. We need them. We need them. Not they need us to to our genocide is small a blot from it. There's 1,000 children have been dismissed. They don't know where they don't.
Yes.
These children at the school, when teacher asks them, they don't know who's his father because they don't want to. We would like to speak about genocide, about Holocaust and Albanian's case and others. we would like to support them. We would like to support them through the parliaments to collect signatures and support them. We would like to apologize to each other as a Kurdish. If there were a problem with us, we would like to apologize to other community. What we did, what was wrong we did. Therefore, we would like to say that we are lonely in this. We are uh, and loneliness, and then we all these KRIs, Kurdistan's uh, regimes, if it is in West and East and in this, but we are discriminate here first. We are a victim from this war happening in this area. We are need to support others. We need to speak out our voice. And Mr. Kakim, and they share their stories to the worldwide. We have other spaces, stories, and they will.
Yes, this
This was a good opportunity, but
yes, and we continue. And this is exactly why I built the center. And actually, thank you for mentioning the Armenians, because I was going to announce at the end that next Wednesday, on the 22nd of April, we will have a webinar about the Armenians, by the Armenians. So please register to that. Part of what we see is everybody is registering only to their own instead of to everybody. And we already have in our website over 82 webinars from everyone. So it's good to listen to indeed hear everyone. That's what we are here for, exactly. Thank you so much, Ali, for confirming how important it is. And Adalat, please briefly, I know you have a lot to say, but I have people waiting, so go ahead. Your last words.
I would like to tell my last words.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to thank you, Ciel, to participate this seminar. It is very important to be with other parties, but we have been tried to be in touch with others, but this cannot gain in 1 year. But this is what we already collected through these years. We have been sharing with you many of the historical. We have been collected. We have been speech with them. We have been and connect with them about our genocide, our uh, cases. About the case of Kurdish, it is a big loss that all these years has not been uh, solved, and about all the neighbors that have been implemented on them from different countries and neighbors. But we have one point. We have only one place that which is uh, south of Iraq, is south of Kurdistan. It's only have been bombed and always attacked it. We are all of us. We are looking and searching about the trauma and all the legacy of the traumas that we have. So what we are going through. So therefore, we have to collaborate with each other and share our uh, each other. I would like to sorry for other colleagues that I couldn't answer them, but we can uh, contact with them about the DNA of. Uh, um, there's there is a case about 72 cases that there were not uh, finalized the DNA of them, and this is only there was only two graves that opened only in Hazar and Muthanna. The other graves they were not formally. They now only recorded in barcode and number. This is not right. So, Miss Aswell were Aswell, and as general, I would like to thank you. I would like to mention that we will be with you. We are, and we will share our thing. I will thank all of our friends. I would like to Mr. Daraka came in Kirk Ali and Mr. Shakhawan, and they were in this process, and they are working to improve this case. And to I would like thank him, and I see I see them as my family as possible. Thank you for you.
Thank you. Shakhawan, you are last but not least. And please be brief.
Thank you so much. This I would like to mention it in Kurdish this time.
Sure.
I would like to mention Anfal in Kurdish. This is very important. Not only genocide of Anfal, there is many genocides that happen in this area. All these genocides have been uh, put there for the genocide after the worldwide second Kur and because the Kurdistan have been divided for four parties. This
Countries.
is yeah, and and this is one case that time from that time till here, stage by stage, all the government try to diminish this community. We only mentioned some part, a small part, which is in 1988, and
Right.
there's another genocide that happened on the Kurdish. This is one side. Another side, this is other side. There's a conflict between KRI and government of Iraq. This is how they get this graves opened and formally approve it. This conflict, political issues, is between these uh, bodies. This is not good, and and government of Baghdad is not giving very details for these um, if it is, and there's some borders that already conflicted between, and there's some problem with the oils. There's some problem with the salaries. So all these conflict between these, and there are many genocides. If it is Barzanis and Failis, all these are these cases are a victim of the political parties now. So they are not uh, getting a part of their requirement needs. I think I think the I think the material multigenerational legacies of trauma is always a lifelong and integrational effect. for the victims and survivors. We
Right.
need international standards to we talk to them, and we would like to hear from them what the international victims, and therefore we could get our voice to them, how we can be helpful together. Uh, when it comes to Kurds, we are lonely. We don't have a government. We don't have any power. We are lonely. We have only one right, which is in southern KRI or southern Kurdistan. Only try to uh, say it to the world, and uh, I will thank you so much. Like, I would like thank to all of the participants, all the colleagues that have been present there, and I would like to um, help all other friends and efforts that have been.
Thank you, Shakhawan. I, this profound loneliness is coming to so many victims. It's, bless God, we are together. And let's continue to be together. So maybe that loneliness, we won't be trapped in that loneliness for over and over and over. So what do you choose, to meet next Monday or on May 4th? You can write to me, Ali, you will ask the group and we will send it around. Okay, you're a wonderful organizer. When we met, I had no idea what an amazing group of people you'll bring together.
I think thank you so much again, but I think we cannot arrange it very quickly for now, but for the next Monday, it is very soon, but we would like to participate over the Armenian party victims, and we would like to be participate in that one. And we would like to mention for the others groups that I can arrange another meeting to share different stories about this case.
Very good. So you let me know. And please do come to the Armenian webinar next week, those of you who can. And I am so thankful that we got together. And this center is for you. Thank you.
They thank you so much. They are thanking you, and see you next time.
Yes.
Good night. Good night, saying good night.
Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.